So before, well, to help me kind of decide how to share the recording, does anybody have an issue if I convert it to a YouTube video and save it as an unlisted video, so only people with the link will see it? So if people do Google searches, if you don't want me to do that, either send me a message, like a separate chat. Um, if you have an issue with that. Otherwise, I'll do that. It's easier to access that way. But I understand that some people don't want to do that. But it's literally they couldn't find it with a Google search. You could just you have to have the URL for that. So just let me, if you have an issue with that, let me know, and I won't do it. I'll just share the archive, and that's fine. So thank you all for being here tonight. And I apologize for the rescheduling, the tornado warnings. I know a number of people lost internet, so I figured it might be a good day to try and get a nicer weather day for this, but it's not much nicer today, but a little bit nicer. So um, we have and then we had three of us planned to be here tonight. One came down with strep throat and some other things, is not feeling well, so Dr. Campbell did not make it. Dr. Gunter is on sabbatical and she was unable to make it tonight as well. But you have Dr. Harumi and myself. So we have a pretty robust agenda. We're going to get started here. We're going to do some quick introductions. We'll run through some course sequences and types. We'll talk about plans of study. We'll get into some key program events. We'll talk about a number of nuances of the program. Then we'll get into a little bit of AI. We'll talk about some professional dispositions. And then towards the end, we'll kind of open it up to some Q&A for y'all. So hopefully this is really useful and informative. If you have questions moving back, you can come back and revisit this. We'll also spend a little bit of time talking about the virtual advisor tonight. So for those of you that may not have seen that or played around with that, I do see we have a number of new students in here tonight. So I will go ahead and start, Tusi. I'll introduce myself. I am Richard Hartshorn. Typically I'm the program or the track coordinator for educational technology. Currently that is Dr. Lori Campbell. Glenda Gunter is typically the track coordinator for e-learning, and she's on sabbatical, so I'm playing the part of Dr. Gunter until June or so. So those of you who are in the e-learning track I'll be communicating with you for plan of study approvals and comprehensive exams and those sorts of things this particular semester. I've been here for 12 years. I'm currently the department head for the Department of Learning Sciences and Educational Research, which is where the Instructional Design and Technology program is housed. My primary interests research-wise are really focusing on emerging technologies in education and training, as well as online and blended learning in education and training as well. That's just a snapshot. I have other interests as well, golf, other things, but I'll save those for maybe a later day and turn it over to Dr. Harumi.
Thanks, Richard. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in tonight. My name is Dr. Atusi Harumi. Everyone just calls me 2C. You might call me other names if you've taken one of my classes, but that's okay. Let's see. This is my 20th year at UCF and my 30th year as a professor. I know I don't look that old. Probably look younger than Richard, but yeah, senior citizen here. My research focuses on advancing health professions education. So about 10, 15 years ago, I was asked to participate in a grant to create a virtual patient simulation. That really went well. And the head of the medical education department invited me to join their faculty on a part-time basis. And I did that for several years. And then I've dedicated my research, the remainder of my career, to improving medical and health professions education. So if anyone's interested in that, I actually started a special interest group at the national level that coordinates and works with other medical as well as health professions organizations. It's called Education in the Health Professions. It's free to join that group, but if you want to go to the conference, obviously that costs money. But if you'd like to just join the group and get email and information about job opportunities in the area, you're free to do so as well. Otherwise, my background is in military as well as online distance ed. But then I haven't done much of that or K-12 stuff in a while now since I've been in the health professions. I was on sabbatical for about a year, 13 months. I got back last fall, so it's good to be back, but I'd rather be traveling. So that's about me right now, and I'm looking forward to working with people. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, just so you know, I direct the Instructional Systems Master's degree, the Instructional Systems Certificate, Instructional Design for Simulation Certificate, and the PhD program in Education, Instructional Design Technology track. So those are the ones that I'm responsible for. If you're in any of those, especially the Instructional Systems Masters, you need to work with me for the comp exam. We rotate through the internships every spring, but if you are instructional systems, again, you want to contact me to start it off. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, TC. So one of the things that we created a few years back was a web course called the Virtual Instructional Design Technology Virtual Advisor. And y'all all are, obviously, if you're seeing this announcement, you probably are familiar or at least have seen the Virtual Advisor. But I did want to kind of highlight a couple of things with it. Does everybody see the web course on the screen now? So this was created just to kind of provide y'all with some general information to kind of help you navigate through the program. We use it for here. We post random announcements, so job opportunities, internship opportunities, webinars like this, orientations, events. We'll post a lot of things here. We do believe that a level of redundancy is good for online programs. So we'll post a lot of things here and then post them in the modules as well. These typically, I would recommend setting up, if you haven't already, your notifications to receive these announcements when they're made. We don't make them super frequently, but whenever important or information and opportunities or resources become available, we do share them out with y'all. So this is a great little tool for us to kind of have conversations with you. You also have the discussions option, where here we have just, do you have a question? And if you have a question about a program issue or anything like that, feel free to post it here. If you have something that's more individualized, just reach out to your advisor, or myself, Dr. Rumi, Dr. Gunter, Dr. Campbell, for that. But if you have something more programmatic related, then just post it here, and you'll see we have 132 questions right now, just a ton of things over the years, just random questions that are there. And then the meat of this is in the modules. So we have a welcome module here with some frequently asked questions. There's the do you have a question link, and then to where you can join our listserv. We have our professional dispositions document and what they are and why we did them. And we'll touch base on a number of these issues and items later. We have events here. So anytime an event pops up, we will post it here. Again, we will post that via the announcement. So in the fall, we're going to try and have like an open house event, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And then we have random things throughout the year, and we'll post those there as well. Some getting to know the instructional design program. So who are the faculty, who are the staff? We kind of touched on that. But there's a little bit of information there. And then below all that is where really the informational section of the virtual advisor are. So we have a lot of information on your plans of study. Some of y'all may have heard of a plan of study. Some of you may have completed it. But here we have we have Excel documents and PDFs, fillable PDFs. So you can select either one of those. we do have a video that walks you through creating the plan of study. It is inaccessible right now for some reason, so I will be reposting that as soon as I get it working again. Then we have the certificate track down here. You do not submit a plan of study, but these right here will tell you kind of if you start in the spring and you want to take one course per semester, how should you map that out? If you start in the fall and you want to take 2 in e-learning, how should you map that out? So those right there are just kind of more sort of paths of courses you can take there. And then a really important document here is the projected schedule. And what we've done here is we posted our projected schedule for the next 3 years. So every course that's going to be offered, let me kind of enlarge this a little bit. Every course that's offered each semester for the next 3 years is listed here. So you can, day one, you could come in and map out your entire program for the course. You could say, okay, I'm taking these 2 in spring of 2024, these 2 in summer of 24, these 2 in fall of 24, these 2 in spring of 25. You could literally map out everything you want day one. At no point in time have we ever cut a course from this schedule. So everything that's offered here will be offered here. We've actually added courses. And we're going to try and do this again this summer, but EME 6613, you'll see here in the yellow, those are added courses. So we're going to try and offer those over this summer as well. But this is a great tool. Sit down with your plan of study document, sit down with this 3-course schedule, and just kind of map out how you want things to go for your semester. I will say one thing related to the plans of study, because we're going to touch on that. Well, I'm kind of going to touch on this in a little bit as well. It's very important to not only complete your plan of study so you know what you're taking when, but to register as soon as possible. So courses will be coming out for summer, fall, and spring of 25, summer of 24, fall 25, and spring of fall 24, and spring of 25 in mid-March. So you can go and register like March 17th or something for the next year. So you make sure you have a seat in your course. You don't have to stress out about, okay, getting into a course at a particular time. If you are an employee and are using the tuition waiver, I know you can't register until the Friday before classes start, but we need to know you're there. So when the courses come out and you know you want to take X, Y, and Z on the individual semesters, reach out to me and let me know. I can't save you a spot, but I know you're there, and that helps us map out, do we need 2 sections of this course this semester? Do we need what? So, but if I don't know that you're there, then it's impossible for us as a program to plan. So if you are an employee or using the any tuition waiver or anything like that, you need to reach out to me. And then, and this virtual advisor, you're automatically enrolled when you are become a student in the program. So if you do not have access to it, if you somehow got the email from somebody or something, if you don't have access to the virtual advisor, let me know and I'll look into why you don't have access. And then some other things we'll talk about this, but we have practicum and internship information. We're going to talk about this tonight, but this is a great resource to go and find a sample contract, the registration agreement form, what is the practicum, how you find one. And then we have partners and places that hire interns, and we'll post those here. We'll post those as they become available as well. But you have your guidelines, all of this stuff, what's required in the portfolio, et cetera. Then here we have sort of a similar module for the comprehensive exam. What is the comprehensive exam? It's a nice little video that walks you through that. Registering and preparing for it. And then we have the schedule, the application for the exam, the PhD application, and then frequently asked questions on the comp exam. And then that's really the bulk of the virtual advisor. And so I did the next thing on the agenda was the plans of study. I kind of touched on those. You can access your plans of study here. And like I said, there will be a video for this, but let's say you're in the educational technology program, you have two options. One is the template, an Excel document, which you'll just download the Excel document, fill it out. For this, you would just put in which term, fall or summer, and what year. You would put in your graduate research option course. So you have a number of options here. So you would just select one of those courses, put it there and select the term. And then you would select your electives, your 9 hours of electives down here. As I mentioned before, we also have the fillable PDF. So you could download this PDF and you would just select the term from a drop-down menu. You would select your course here and you would fill in the information there. So you have two options. Once these are completed, you will send that to your advisor and they will either provide feedback for you on that or they will approve it and move it forward to graduate studies. You have the first year to complete that. And once after that first year is done, you will get a hold on your record and be unable to register. So if you don't submit the plan of study within that first year, that hold will go into place. So I think somebody asked if you haven't, it should be mandatory, Michelle. If you haven't submitted one yet, then that might be an issue. So
I submitted it back my second semester, so that would have been summer of 23, and I never heard anything back once I submitted it.
What
No
track?
feed ed tech.
Okay. If you send it to me, I'll look into it.
Okay,
So
thank you.
just send it to me as a follow-up.
Okay.
All of our courses are online, so we have a variety of different formats. So some are primarily asynchronous. Some have synchronous web meetings. So those of you that are in 6507, EME 6507 have been in 6507 with me. You know, we have meetings on either Monday, Tuesday, Thursday night, depending on, and then those are typically recorded. 2C, do you hold synchronous meetings in your for 6613 and 6226?
All courses that I teach meet every other week from 6 to 9 p.m. typically on Wednesdays.
Okay.
But
so,
yes, they're not required meetings, but they're strongly encouraged, and that's where people get feedback, and they're all recorded.
Yeah, and for those of none of us, as far as I know, I don't believe any courses have mandatory meetings at a certain day and time of the week, but we do encourage you, and then most of them are recorded for those that are unable to meet them. So, but they're all online and different. We have some that don't have synchronous meetings or have very few synchronous meetings, so they're all handled kind of differently. And the last thing I want to touch on before we start talking about key program events are the prerequisites for courses. So in that 3-year schedule, you can see here that the prerequisites for all courses are highlighted. So each of these you can't really probably see them too well, but these have numbers, and then those go and show you the prerequisites for those numbers. I'll say two key ones are obviously EME 6507 and EME 6613. 6507 is the multimedia course. 6613 is our basic instructional design course. Those are prerequisites for many or co-requisites for many courses. And then 6613 has sort of a sequence of 6226 if you are in the instructional systems track or the instructional design certificate. Likewise, the e-learning track has EME 6417 and EME 6458 that have to be taken sequentially. And this is noted in here. So it isn't anything that you don't have information on, but I do want to highlight those as options as well. Another thing, if you're considering your electives, one of the things that we do, all of our electives are 5 courses long. All of our electives, you have 3 courses of electives. All of our certificates are 5 courses long. 2 of those courses are EME 6613 and EME 6507, which you would take as your part of your MA track already. So if you took those other 3 courses as specialization courses, you could earn the certificate. So for example, if if you took EME 6226, EME 6607, and EME 6705, you would earn, and let's say you were in the e-learning MA, you took those specialization courses, you could earn the instructional design certificate alongside the e-learning MA. Likewise, if you're in the instructional systems program and you took 6417, 6458, and 6457 as your 3 electives, those along with 6507 and 6613, which you'll already take, you will earn the e-learning certificate alongside your instructional systems masters. Does that make sense? So it's just a way to make yourself more knowledgeable in the field, but also more marketable once you leave the program. You say, because this, you just have kind of more kind of breadth and depth of knowledge in the area. Same thing with ed tech. If you were in instructional systems or in e-learning, you could take EME 6053, 6405, and 6602 as your electives and earn the educational technology certificate. You do have to apply for it. So that is a requirement that UCF has. They like your $31 or $32 or whatever it is now. We would let you join in for free. We don't care. But it is a UCF requirement that you apply for it, and sooner rather than later. So you can't finish the program and then apply for it in your final semester or anything like that. So you would want to do it once you decide, hey, that's a good idea. I would apply for it right away. 2C, go ahead.
Yeah, just be sure you note that we cannot substitute courses in the certificate programs. So if there is an alternative option, like Richard said, all certificates are 5 courses. If you can take 2 courses, it's noted. If there's any options for taking courses, it's noted in the certificate program. If it's not noted, we cannot substitute certificate courses. We can do some more flexibility when you get into the master's and PhD, but just so you know, you don't need to ask if, oh, can I just take a different course to require the requirements for a certificate? Unfortunately, we cannot.
Michelle, you had a question?
Yes, I'm full of them. I'm sorry. So I was looking at doing a second certificate, but it would only offered in spring, and I already have 3 courses. If I finish my master's in fall of 24, can I take that one extra course in spring of 25 to get that certificate, or would I be over at that point?
So you would be finished with the program, but you would want to take, well, if you applied and were accepted to the certificate program, you would be in that program.
Okay,
you
so
could
I'd be
take it
able to
now.
take just the one extra class in spring of 25, even if my master's is done.
I mean, if you're accepted to the certificate, yeah. If
Okay.
you've already applied and all that. Now, I will say one thing, you can't sort of do all 3 of them. Any single course can only apply to 2 degrees, whether it's a
Okay.
certificate or a master. So EME 6507 will only count towards 1 certificate and 1 master's. It couldn't be like the instructional systems masters and
So I
then the
couldn't do
e-learning
2
certificate and
certificates
the ed tech
and
certificate. Yeah, you can only use it for 2 programs.
okay.
So yeah, because you could take, because literally you could just take all 3 of them and pair them up. But and then that gets complicated because it gets back to what Tusi said, in that you can't make substitutions. So
Okay.
like you couldn't do a second certificate along with a master's and another certificate, because we can't do any substitutions for that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there, and then the next item was key program events. So I did want to, and I'm going to talk about our open house event, and then I'm going to shut up and let Tusi talk about the comprehensive exams and the internship real quick, or as long as he needs to do it. But one event, and actually Tusi, you can jump in because you do a great job of describing the open house here. One event that we're going to have, I believe in the fall, is when we're going to target it now, is an open house event. And what this event is where we bring in 30 or so partners from different sectors in the Central Florida community that do instructional design and technology. It's not a job fair. It's more of a what does instructional design and technology look like in higher ed, in military contracting, in hospitality, in tourism, in medical education. What does it look like in these different sectors? And people do have conversations and network and get job offers and interviews and internship offers and opportunities and that sort of thing. So we'll be having that in the fall. And we're not sure who all is going to be there, but we're going to try and get Disney and JetBlue and just a whole array of partners, just so you will have an opportunity to network, but also see what instructional design and technology in our program areas and our degrees in action look like in these various sectors. Tusi, did you want to you make some good comments about the open
Yeah.
house often so.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to go to that as well. It has two purposes. One is so we could recruit students who may never have heard of our program. So there's students, a lot of people I know I've never heard of instructional design technology going through my undergraduate program, and there's a lot of undergrads that don't know about it. So we use it for recruiting people, as well as kind of like Richard said, it's not a job fair per se, but a lot of people use it kind of to find internships and to really make connections. It's not what you know as much as who you know sometimes. So making those connections during that event is a very good idea, as well as other conferences. I can say that I'm proud to say that we're probably the only program that has enough partners in business and industry and K-12 and higher ed to pull a job fair off like that. As far as a program goes, most others in the across the university does it at the department level or more at the college level when they do these kinds of events. So we do have a lot of strong partnerships. Central Florida is probably the most active in terms of instructional design and technology you might find, and pretty much in the world, because we have all military is present in Central Florida, as we have a lot of people in hospitality, increasing numbers in health professions. And so just a lot of exciting opportunities out there for both in and outside of class. So I encourage you to do that. If we want to keep going to talk about those kinds of things, I also want to alert people to the Inter-Service ITSIC. It's the largest simulation conference in the world, and it's held in Orlando every December. And it's very expensive, so I don't go to the sessions unless I get invited to speak. But there's usually a free day for anyone that wants to go who's registered, especially if you're a student. So it's gone 2023, but 2024 will be in December. But just put that on your calendar. It's really, really exciting. It's the largest conference. Their exhibit area is like 5-6 different halls. So it takes at least 2 days, really, even 3 days to go through the whole thing. Almost every company in this Central Florida area that does instructional design work is represented there, as well as companies from all across the US and around the world. Lots of military simulations, a lot of healthcare simulations, a bunch of games. Very cool. You could try a lot of them. So that's one of the conferences that I encourage people to go to every year. At a master's level, that's what distinguishes, in my opinion, a master's and a doctoral student. Doctoral students are expected to contribute back to the knowledge base and participate in professional organizations. It's strongly encouraged at the master's level. So undergrads, you go to class, you get your skills, hopefully get a job. At a master's level, you really are expected to be a part of your field. So I encourage you to start looking at different professional organizations to be an active member of. ITSIC has their conference, AECT, but these are the things we'll be posting in the announcements areas. So join the listserv, look for announcements in the IDT advisor. We do have a call for conference proposals coming up for AECT, is probably opening within the next week or two. So watch for that. AECT is the home of instructional design and technology, all academics and students in instruction technology, not all of them, but this is the one that I joined, gosh, over 35 years ago, close to 40 years now. I've been a part of. So what I encourage everyone to do is become a member of one professional organization, be very active, think about leadership positions, really get to know everyone, and then just go to one or two other conferences if you can throughout the year based on your interests. Thank you.
So Tusi, next up on the agenda, we have the comprehensive exams and the internships.
Okay.
You want to
Sure, I can do those.
talk about the internships definitely, and then I can jump in with some with the comprehensive exams because I know we do them a tad bit different. So
sure. Okay, internships. We really need practical experience. It's hard to get a job in this field unless you have some practical experience. It's kind of a catch-22. How can you get experience unless you get out there? And then how can you get a job unless you have experience? And that goes around and around. But internships is a great way to get some practical experience. If we do have on our virtual advisor different sites that have requested interns from our program. But if you think about it, every company with 2 or more people does some kind of training or provides some kind of educational service. So, and almost every university now has a department or a functional unit that helps faculty go online or provide digital resources. So again, almost every K-12 school district has positions, higher institutes of higher ed, and most industries. Whether they hire instructional designers or not, that's a separate question. But again, in Central Florida, we are fairly well known. So start looking for internships early. We encourage all students to take internships for our registration and tracking purposes in the summer. But if you have an exceptional opportunity, like you've always wanted to work for Disney, and this has happened, I've had people whose their life goal was to work with Disney and one came up and they were accepted. If situations like that, we're always going to help you. So if that happens, contact your faculty advisor. They will set a special internship course for you during fall or spring. Internship practicum, it's the same thing. Don't let that fool you. Internships are what we call it, I think, in the fall and spring, and I think practicums is what we have to call it in the summer, just for, again, tracking purposes, but it's the exact same thing. You have to apply, submit a registration form, work with your advisor to create a contract. There's one faculty member that supervises it every summer. You just got to work with him or her to prepare your contracts and get your registration forms, and then you go off and do your internship. You can talk to your faculty advisor, but you'll be interacting with your on-site mentor. We strongly encourage you have to finish your core courses to qualify for internship, unless, again, it's a special situation where there's a special opportunity comes up. Otherwise, you really are supposed to finish all your core courses. If you have some electives still open, that's still fine. But the important part of our program is study. Don't wait until the end to start looking.
perfect. Thank you, Susie. And then the other kind of summative assessment of the program is our comprehensive exam. And each track does a comprehensive exam. And each track does them a little bit differently, but primarily the gist of it is the same. For ed tech and e-learning, we recommend that you register for the comprehensive exams the semester prior to graduation. The reason for that is if you're unsuccessful, which is rare, then you can retake it the next semester and it won't delay your graduation if you're successful that second time. The way the comprehensive exam works is you're sent out a month that you have to apply for it. There's an application. It's usually the 3rd week of March for the spring semester, June for the summer semester, and October for the fall semester. You receive the exam on Friday and it's due on Tuesday. Tuesday, I think Tuesday morning. I think Tuesday, you do Tuesday as well, Friday to Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes, end of day.
So, and then, so you receive study questions, which are the actual test questions, but 10 of them, 8 to 10 of them a month beforehand. And on the Friday of the administration of the exam, you receive the actual exam, which is 4 questions, 1 required, and then you pick the 3 of 4 remaining questions to answer. So you can literally complete the whole exam in that month of preparation time and just copy and paste and submit it very soon. You could outline, collect I recommend writing out as many answers as you can. And then you will get a rating about 3 to 4 weeks after that of unacceptable, acceptable, or satisfactory, unsatisfactory, or acceptable with conditions. And then the conditions will provide specific feedback that you need to address. You'll be given a certain amount of time to address the comments and feedback. And if you address them sufficiently, then your conditional pass will be moved to a satisfactory, and we will anoint you passers of the comprehensive exam. Susie?
Yeah, I just want to encourage or stress the fact that people should prepare draft answers. So in my experience, and I've done hundreds of them now, 90% pass with conditions. And like Richard said, after you submit them, they're just follow-up questions. You might have missed something or need to correct something, or there's an error. Just some follow-up questions that we provide you on your feedback that says you pass conditionally. To really officially pass, you have to meet these conditions by answering these follow-up questions. Follow-up questions may be oral or it could be written depending on the nature of the question. But before that, you meet with your advisor to create your study guide. This is how I do it anyway, and typically as early as possible in the semester or even late the semester before. And you create a study guide, which is 10 questions, and we make it relevant. So it's really trying to help you advance your career. So the questions are all relevant to your professional interests. So they're not a waste or one-off or something like that where you won't have any use for them. We're making sure you have some basic knowledge, but also specific to your chosen career path. Once you get your study guide, you can use anything you want to study. So we strongly encourage you draft an answer for all 10 questions before you get the exam, because then you get the exam, it's low stress. All you're doing is copying and pasting, and in 4 days, people should be able to copy and paste and refine their questions. Like I said in the beginning, 5%, 90% pass with conditions, 5% pass as is, and we want all of you to be in that 5%, but 5% fail. And undoubtedly, the people that fail from my areas are the ones that don't draft answers. Trying to prepare a comp exam response, which is anywhere between 5 and 10 pages per question, is just too challenging if you just put together all your resources and you have resources available and you try to construct that level of response within, even 1 response per day. It's pretty challenging. So don't do that. Draft answers, meet with your faculty advisor as soon as possible to get your guide prepared. That was what I would recommend.
Yeah, and I'll say that the bulk of the questions are directly from coursework and experiences in the program, but a lot of times we want to see how well you assimilate information and can compile and think on your own. So we'll throw you a curveball question. And it's going to be related to the field, obviously, but it may be that you're taking some stuff that is a common issue in the field and addressing it and applying what you learned in the courses to some new kind of issue that maybe wasn't something explicitly addressed in your courses. At least sometimes I like to do that. So, okay. So we did want to kind of touch on a couple of nuances in the course. Tusi already talked about professional organizations and joining those and the importance of those, ITSEC, and that sort of thing. We also have a number of other ways that we'd like to keep people connected. One is the listserv, and there's a link to joining the listserv on the program page on our program website, as well as in the virtual advisor. So we highly encourage you to join the listserv. Anytime opportunities come our way, we will send them to you via the listserv, via the advisor. The listserv has a lot of other people that may not be in the virtual advisor now, so we do share multiple ways for that reason. We also have a LinkedIn alumni page, so I would definitely encourage you to join that once you graduate from the program, because alumnus from all over will post job opportunities pretty whenever they become available. And you may notice if you attend the open house that a lot of the people there are hiring agents for their company. They're also graduates of our program. So you'll notice that a lot of the people that participate in the LinkedIn group are hiring agents or are very well connected to the hiring agents in their particular program areas. And then one other thing that I wanted to talk about nuance wise was intent to graduate. Those of you that are in your final semester, to actually graduate, whether it's a master's or a certificate, you have to submit an intent to graduate. And you go into My UCF and then go to student self-service. You need to submit an intent to graduate for every program area that you're in. So if you're doing a certificate and a master's, you need to submit 2 intent to graduates. We're going to put some guidance on this on the virtual advisor, just because we've had some issues with it recently. But I did want to highlight that for anyone who is close to graduation. Make sure that you submit the intent to graduate in the first week of your final semester. There's actually a deadline. It's a little beyond the first week. But do it for all of your program areas. Additionally, one other nuance that I want to say: the plan of study. I don't want people to get the wrong idea about the plan of study. The plan of study is not a guarantee for a seat in a classroom. So you still have to register. And again, we recommend registering sooner rather than later. So if you think, okay, I got this plan of study that says I'm taking EME 6613 in the fall, so I'm good. I can just wait until the day before fall to start. And you go to register and it's full with 35 students because we've already done the maximum number of overrides we're going to do. You're out of luck. So and we don't like to say you're out of luck. We like you to move through the program very timely and like you want to. So just know, again, that's another reason to make sure that you register as soon as you can. I can count on probably one hand how many students haven't gotten into courses they've needed. But sometimes, it just, we just haven't had seats. So very, very important to make sure that you register as soon as possible. Now, we will try to work with you if things come up, but just know that it's super important. And then that's all I have for this. Tusi, I did want to give you an opportunity to talk about the professional dispositions.
Sure. So hopefully none of you will have to ever worry about the standards that we developed, but it occurred about, I think, across the university about 6-7 years ago. It's now over 5 years ago. We had a bunch of problems with students who felt like they were entitled to get a degree if they just attended class or just paid for class, or didn't do their work, or just was acting very unprofessionally. And it wasn't just in our program. The College of Medicine at that point has a yellow flag, red flag system, like in soccer and everything like this. So a lot of programs and several programs across the university adopted our standards because we thought we did a really good job. And we actually haven't had any problems after we created the standards. So we think that has helped a lot. But be sure you read them. It's a very well-written document, I think, because it has examples as well as non-examples of what is expected of you. What isn't expected, what you should do in different situations. The first time, if something does happen, the first infraction is we will work with you to create a professional development kind of, I don't know what you would call it, things that you should do to increase your professionalism. So we will do a kind of a plan for you, or work with you to develop a plan so you will increase your professionalism or make sure you act in a professional manner. if you break the standard or don't meet the standards a second time, you will be put on probation. And if for any reason you break or you don't meet the standards a third time, you can be dismissed from the program. We've only had one dismissal, I think, in the 20 years that I've been here. Richard, have you gone through that? One or two, maybe two, I think, now that I think of it.
Yeah.
But they haven't happened recently. So I think the standards have helped. I think people are starting to get a better understanding of expectations. But please, please, please read that document so there is no miscommunications in terms of what we expect in terms of your behavior online as well as face-to-face.
And a lot of courses, you'll see it as the academic engagement activity is to read and kind of agree that you've read those materials. We've recently actually added some AI, artificial intelligence criteria related to that. And essentially that AI is really, the use of AI is at the course level and at the instructor level. So kind of defer to their syllabus or defer to them specifically. If you have a question about whether a use is appropriate or inappropriate, then you can reach out to the instructor because it is a course level kind of decision. So, well, that is all that we had for tonight. Tusi, did you have anything else you wanted to share or comment on?
Yeah, it's just exciting to see everyone here. It is exciting to be in this field in Central Florida. JetBlue has its primary training office here. Boeing has it in, I think, in the Space Coast. Again, lots in the hospitality. Disney has a ton of training. It's decentralized, so you have to find the right location for the different pockets of training that they do. But again, Universal, all the major hospitality, Darden, and again, all the universities and a lot of companies. So yeah, very exciting. So take advantage of it. Don't just focus on coursework. Coursework is coursework is coursework. It's often what you do outside of coursework that's going to really get you the job. Volunteer for research, volunteer for some development projects. All faculty have research and development going on at some level, some more than others, but everyone likes to talk about their research. So we want to know what your interests are. Reach out, and that's the last thing I will leave you with is don't sit back, be proactive, okay? Then self-initiating. That's what people are looking for. People are looking for people who are smart, obviously, and have the skills they're looking for, but don't require a lot of hand-holding. They have a lot of self-initiation and go out and figure it out themselves. And then if you have a question, please come to us. We are here to help you. We want every single one of you to be successful. The more you're successful, the more we are successful. So we are here to help each and every one of you, okay?
And we set up the virtual advisor as a resource for you, but we're available. So don't think that is the only source of information you have. You can reach out to your advisors or faculty members and get answers at whenever you have a question. So that's it for us. If we now wanted to kind of open it up to questions for y'all. Again, I did want to, I know some other people jumped in. My plan was to take this and post it as an unlisted YouTube video. If you have a concern with that or don't want me to do that, either send me an individual chat message right now or send me an email by the end of the evening. My options are to share simply the archived Zoom, which can be a pain sometimes. YouTube's super easy. You can I can upload it to YouTube. You can fast forward to whatever you want, but let me know either via a chat message now or via email at richard.hartshorn@ucf.edu this evening, and I will, if there are any concerns, then I'll just share the archive of the Zoom video. And with that being said, any questions? If anyone would like to raise their hand, then we can give you the microphone. Okay, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, thank you. This was very helpful. I might have a little unique case, so I'm sorry that if I'm taking too much sort of talking space here, but I'm actually a doctoral student in another program under the College of Sciences. And I found the certificate programs just through my own searching when I first started at UCF last year. And so I spoke to my coordinator, my graduate coordinator in my department about it. And there are some things that I'm sure got lost through the grapevine, but I was under the impression that I could take the classes that were required for the certificate and apply like at a later time. But after hearing you all speak, you do not recommend that, correct? Do you think
No,
I should apply?
that's a good, you can get started on it and then, but you want, so what they're cracking down on at graduate studies is people will take our MA and then they'll go, oh, well, I'm done with the certificate. I have the certificate because I structure my electives this way. And they'll apply for the certificate like the last semester. So they apply and graduate with the certificate in the same semester. That's a problem for graduate studies. So the sooner you do it, the better. So if you do it a semester ahead of, you can only, it's actually a transfer rule. You can only transfer in X number of credits. So if you've already taken 9 credit hours, you can only bring in 9. So it gets complicated with that. So the sooner you do it, the better. If you've already taken 1 course or 2 courses, perfectly fine. Just get that done this semester and you'll be fine. Or
Okay,
sooner.
and just so that I'm clear, how do I go about doing that? Is that on the Instructional Design and Technology website to
Just
apply,
go
or is
to,
it
you
something?
can just go to UCF's website and put apply. And then when you, just like you would apply for the doc program, but it's much easier. You don't need letters or anything like that for a certificate. You just link to your transcripts and it's super easy. So,
Okay.
but
Is there any?
if you have questions with it, if you look on it on your own a little bit and can't find it, just shoot me an email and I'll give you like specifics.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. I see that in the chat. So just to clarify, sorry if I'm beating a dead horse here, but is there any other communication or document that I need to give to my department in terms of having this like post on my degree if I get accepted into the certificate or anything like that?
That's going to be up to your department, Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. But as soon as I get accepted, I will have access to that virtual advisor and whatnot, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. 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 You're on, anyone who's admitted to any of our program areas, certificates or masters, are automatically enrolled in the virtual advisor.
And Alex,
Awesome.
when you figure out that you really want to pursue a doctor in our program study, we could talk about how you could just transfer over to our doctor. It's much more interesting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This was very helpful.
Sure thing.
And I do want to encourage people to consider going into their PhD too. People are getting a master's, taking extra coursework in their certificate. There's less jobs available at the doctoral level, but it's definitely a higher paying and a lot more flexible in terms of your time. As far as the number of hours you work, it's probably going to be the same or more, but when you work or where you work, you have a lot more control over that. And if you like research and teaching, being a faculty member is not a bad gig at all.
Agreed. Lynn, go ahead.
Hi there. So I'm wondering if we're new to instructional design and perhaps have a different background, but already have a previous master's, is it beneficial to go directly into a PhD, or is there kind of necessary master's level coursework that we'd need to kind of lay a foundation?
Yeah, there's definitely you will definitely have some co-requisites. People with a master's in field or related field of study will not have as many, but just again, if you look at our website, we do have a large section there about what are the prerequisites to our doctoral program. But things like the basic design class and a statistics course and some research courses and that kind of stuff. And we have all that laid out, but we're more than happy to meet with you to look at that. There's really no reason to get 2 master's degrees unless you just really want to work as an instructional designer in this field. But I strongly encourage people to consider a doctorate and you know, it's been such a great life for me that I just want to encourage others to consider it as well.
Yeah, I'll say best decision I ever made. I mean, don't tell my wife I said that, but maybe second best decision.
I just went on a
Top
13-month
5
sabbatical that was paid for, 22 countries, 122 different places, and it was basically paid for by the university. So
You're welcome. I'm just kidding.
thank you, Richard.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke. All right. Any other questions? Apparently, Tusi, you and I did such a great job of covering everything that
Yeah.
everyone, and also people might be hungry, and it's like 7 o'clock. So people,
Yep.
Okay, well, we will stop here then. If you have questions outside of this, obviously you can feel free to reach out to Dr. Harumi, Dr. Campbell, myself, Dr. Gunter after May, and we are happy to help you out. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you in classes. I see a number of people already that are in my classes now and have been. So, yeah, so we look forward to working with y'all. And have a great night. I'm going to stop
Thank
the
you very much.
recording, and I will hang out for a few minutes if anyone does have any questions they wanted to maybe not post on the YouTube video or whatever. So if you have questions,